So it's safe to say that the Anthony Davis saga with the Pelicans ultimately did not go very well. Not completely their fault or his fault. There were some injuries along the way, but there were some mistakes that the organization made as well. Now, David Griffin has said that he's trying to convince AD to stay. Who knows if that ends up happening. But now that they've won the lottery and they're going to get Zion, he gives them a second chance. He gives them another opportunity to just do well with a star player and surround him with talent. Now, to speak on Zion's talent, I'm going to be stating the obvious here a bit, but whatever. I think he's going to be a great lob threat and a cutter and all that. I'm expecting him to be one of the best rebounders in the league. He could create a lot of opportunities just on the offensive glass. Posting up may be a little more difficult in the NBA because of the bigger bodies, but I'm expecting him to do well there and draw a lot of contact. The handle is pretty intriguing for a dude who's like 18 years old and nearly 300 pounds. And I think he's going to be able to create shots for other guys as well. Maybe not a huge playmaker, but above average. And then defensively, I think his potential's through the roof. I mean, I've said somewhere, I don't remember where, I think he can be the more athletic Draymond. Defend ball handlers, defend the low post, protect the rim. The only question really is the three-point shot, or shooting in general, pull-up jumpers and all that. Yeah, that's something he has to work through, but I think he's good enough right now to where he can get to being pretty decent. And when we look at the Pelicans as a team, I mean, if they keep Drew Holiday, that could be a pretty good veteran to start the Zion era with. I mean, Drew's 28 and he's under contract for quite a few years, and I also think the defensive potential of Zion and Drew is pretty high. I mean, Drew's already scary as hell along the perimeter, and I think Zion can be very versatile. Now, I think we should get back to Anthony Davis, though. So if he stays, then this whole thing is different. But we have to remember, if he ends up getting traded, and there is still a solid chance of that happening, then that means more exciting young players are going to be coming to this Pelicans team. That could be Brandon Ingram, although there's some recent report that says the Pelicans don't want to deal with the Lakers at all. Could be Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, and a whole bunch of mediocre to bad Knicks players. The Knicks still do have the third pick. I don't know. Jason Tatum, while his season overall was a disappointment, I don't think that was a reflection of his talent. I think that was more so there was only one ball in Boston, and there was a lot of guys who wanted to dribble, a lot of guys who wanted to shoot. Now, even then, he does need to clean up the mid-range jumpers, but maybe that could be Zion's other young dude. And then we also have the Clippers, and between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Montrezl Harrell and other guys, if the Clippers decided that they wanted to get in on the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, I think they could make a pretty decent offer, especially because they also have Miami's pick. Now, maybe the Clippers don't want to get in on it, but if I had to think of another team outside of the obvious ones, it could be them. The other thing to think about with Zion, though, is the people running this organization now. I mean, Dell Demps, when he was running the Pelicans, when AD was there, and again, it wasn't all his fault. They did have injuries, but I think it's safe to say he thought way too highly of Tyreke Evans, giving up assets for him. And he also traded a first when the Pelicans weren't even that great for an okay center in Ashik. You have to think that David Griffin is going to hold on to first-round picks more, and that will be good because now they're not going to try too hard to be good right away. I mean, I think it's definitely valuable to surround a young star with veterans, but there is a fine line between doing that and then going too hard in that direction to the point where you've surrounded your guy with a bunch of players who are cool but not necessarily great, and then you don't have a lot more options. So hopefully they don't do that. As far as the roster they have outside of Drew, I mean, Julius Randle and Zion could be something. They'll bulldoze everybody, and maybe the spacing wouldn't be the best in the world, but they would also score 1 million points in the paint, and they would grab every single rebound, so maybe it would work out in the end, I don't know. So that's all I got for Zion. Basically, he gives the Pelicans a second chance, and hopefully this time they don't screw it up.